God damn, it's windy out there. If you guys are wondering as well about the red car instead of the yellow one, finally took my car in to get fixed after the insurance fucked around for ages, so that is getting fixed as we speak. So I have a nice family car for the next 6 weeks or so while that gets fixed. Alright, so today's video, Q&A. Pretty much the last 2 days I've asked questions, that question thing on Instagram for people to pretty much ask me questions for this Q&A. So here we are. There is a couple of the questions that are really juicy and pretty much I've been wanting to talk about anyway for some time. Just really haven't figured out how I was going to bring it up or when, like context wise, but this gives me a perfect opportunity too. But right now I'm going to go to Coles and buy some shit because I still need to eat my breakfast because I ran out of like cheese and the bread that I use for my toasties. So I pretty much had another meal first, and now I'm here trying to go get that. So I'll pick the camera up again when I get home after shopping. Alright, so just got my stuff from the shops and I figured rather than wait until we get home, I'll answer the first question or first couple. Alright, so first actual question of the whole thing was probably one of the best ones. How do you overcome the fear of gaining weight, obviously by eating more, in order to gain the muscle? So this one right here has taken me my 6+ years of training to learn. So pretty much my whole lifting career I've eaten at like maintenance, give or take maintenance plus like 200 calories, right? That's why my muscle growth has been so slow. That's why I've been training for so long and like I've always had that shredded physique. Luckily, like I've always been able to still put up muscle. Like I've been good like that, my genetics, that comes down to genetics, but I've never truly bulked. When I first started lifting, I was eating like 3,500 calories, yeah? But because I just stopped playing football and I was one of them skinny kids with like an overactive metabolism, that 3,500 calories was pretty much like my maintenance. Like I wasn't gaining. Like I remember when I started, I was eating like 2 muffins from like the supermarkets, which were like 500, 400 calories each a day, right? On top of like 5 meals, and I was barely gaining weight. Like when I was under 70 kilos, I was about 68. Getting 270, those 2 kilos were the hardest 2 kilos I've ever made in my life. So like I said, I've rarely ever truly bulked until now. Like now that this bulk that me and my coach are doing, where I'm eating like 4,600 calories, that's the most I've ever eaten. Hence why this is the most muscle and most weight I've ever put on, because up until now I have never truly bulked. So to answer your question, how do you get over the fear? I think just over time you learn, like your goals evolve. Like you have to take things one step at a time. You can't be, oh, I'm just gonna go all in. Like if you've always been skinny, it's hard to just get fat in the hope that you're putting muscle on and you'll be able to cut it off. Like that fear, that uncertainty is what scares a lot of people, especially me. Like my whole life, all I wanted, like when I was skinny, all I wanted was to be like lean muscle and have abs. So then when I got that and I maintained that, I was like, fuck, I'll keep this, but I'll put muscle on, which obviously isn't that simple, as we all know. In the end, time is what's going to separate you from others. Everyone wants something so quick these days. Everyone's so quick to jump on stuff like 2-3 months into lifting without a foundation, without a basis of the muscle and the development that they need to go on and further that progression. So pretty much my answer to your question would be just give it time, like go with the flow. If you're not mentally ready to eat at a massive surplus, then don't. You don't need to anyway. Like I've proven that. Dude, yes, there's people that go, fuck it, I'm a bulk 1,000 calories over, and they do it for like a year, 2 years, become fat, just get used to it and then cut, and they've got a sick amount of muscle under it. Fair enough. But not everyone can do that. So you've got to trust your own rate. You've got to go at the rate that you see works best for you and just trust the process. If you're consistently eating, even if that's only maintenance or just above, your beginner gains are gonna kick in. And if you're been lifting then long enough, then you know how it is. You know what you have to do to gain muscle. You know how hard it can be when you get over them beginner gains. So you just got to go with the process, trust the flow, and that's in the end, that's what we all love. Like, that's why we all lift. Question number 2. What did you do before training for bodybuilding? So I used to play football or soccer, pretty much. That was my go-to. Like, that was the dream as a kid, obviously. Like, everyone's dream. You want to be a footy player. You want to be you want to be the bees and E's. But obviously, like, in high school, I cracked my hip playing dodgeball. Then when I started lifting, I fucked my meniscus up. Sorry, there's just a lady staring at me recording. But anyway, so I've had a lot of injuries that have set me back to where I am now and like put me on a different route. Which is okay. Like, life's got these things in store for you, so you can never just have something set in your mind. Like, don't be so ignorant to think that everything you want is going to happen. Like, you got to fucking work for it. And if life throws curveballs at you, sometimes your goals are going to change. Even when I was doing soccer and I was playing like A grade, like, even then I wasn't like, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? Like, it's so fucking like demanding, and like you have to truly, truly, truly love it. And like, I love playing, but that was it. I didn't like training. I didn't show up. You know, I'd tell the coach I had something on and still make the team, so I was fine with that. But like, I was happy, and then I studied medicine and I enjoyed doing that. But then even that, I was like, meh, do I want to do that? I went and traveled Europe for a bit, and I was like, bro, I don't want to go back and study medicine. So I took time off, and then that's when I got truly into bodybuilding. And obviously I've lifted like most of my life, like since I was like 18, but only around 21 was when I started taking it serious. And now being 25, 4 years on, like, I've truly devoted myself to the sport, and I've created what I have now, which is what you guys see. So yeah, before I wanted to, as a kid, football star always growing up. Then after that I wanted to go to uni and be a doctor, and now I want to be a fucking pro bodybuilder. So how life changes. Alright, so there's been a slight change of plans. My gym session has been pushed up earlier, so there is no time for eating. I'm just going to go, I'll put my shit away and I'm going straight to the gym now. So I'm going to continue with the Q&A while I drive, because I already know some of the questions that want to be asked. What are my thoughts on PEDs or steroids / SERMs? Pretty much depends what your goals are. Like, if your goals are to compete or to do something in the industry, then like, go for it. If that's what you feel you need to do, then you can go for it. Obviously, like anything, I believe that you shouldn't touch anything until you're at a certain age. I'd say at least like 20. And when you've been training for a certain amount of years, that you've already got a foundation, a basis for which muscle growth can continue. Right? There's no point jumping on if you've been lifting for 2 months. I don't see the point in that. You don't even have the foundations yet. It's stupid. However, like I said, everyone's different. You're going to do what you want to do. So like, if you want to jump on, then you're going to jump on no matter what someone says to you. Is it probably the best thing you can do? No. The best thing you can do is wait like 4 or 5 years, want to compete or something, like have an ulterior motive behind it, right? Then go ahead and do it. Maybe even get a coach. That would be my next recommendation. Don't do anything by yourself. Like, unless you're going to study the ins and out of what you need to take, I wouldn't touch it, because there's so much behind the scenes that you have to do, like when you come off PCTs and stuff like that. And I bet you there's so many people out there, and I know a couple of them myself, that take stuff like SARMs thinking you don't need to take anything after, but you fucking do. At the end of the day, if you're interfering with your normal levels of testosterone and other hormones, you're going to need to take something to bring them back down to normal levels. It's as simple as that. Your body's not going to do it all by itself all the time. So that is my like next bit for you. If you're not willing to do the whole thing, as in like the post-cycle therapy and shit like that, don't bother touching it, because you're going to fuck your body up, you're going to ruin all your hormones, and in the end, you're going to be left looking like a clown when you're doing all these other therapies and treatments to try and bring your body back to natural levels and so forth. So if you're not willing to put in the whole 100 yards as such, then don't show up, because at the end of the day, like I said, you're going to be the one that's looking like a clown. You're the one that's going to have problems in the future, trying to have kids, and that's like, no one wants that shit. Everyone's going to eventually want kids. Like, whether or not you know it now, in the future you're going to want kids. You're going to meet someone, man or woman, and you're gonna think to yourself, I want to have a family with this person. Like, you know, and yeah, fair enough, like adopt, IVF, all the rest of shit, but like that's added pressure and stress on you as an individual. Like, do things right now and you won't have to worry about that. I'm not saying you don't take steroids, like, or SARMs. If you want to take them, but be responsible in your actions. And people are going to say, oh, well, if you're taking that stuff, there's no way you can be responsible. Like, that's bullshit. Like, you can still be responsible and do things. It's like when people go out and drink or smoke cigarettes. You can still be responsible in how you do it. You know, don't fucking drink a whole fucking slab every single night. Go out and have a couple. That's responsibility. In the scenario, you're doing your best you can to still be responsible and still have like some, I guess, like control over the actions that will come. It's like steroids. You're not just going to abuse steroids for fucking 10 years and then, or, you know, and expect to be perfect. It's not going to work like that. You got to do it properly. If you're going to do it, look into it. Get someone who knows this, a coach, someone who specifies in bodybuilding, someone who's done this before themselves and just isn't some fucking bro gym junkie giving you advice in the fucking toilets. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's got their goals and everyone's goals are different. So if you want to take stuff, just be smart about it. Simple. It's not hard. Like, don't just dive into something fucking no knowledge and half witty. Like, it's bullshit and you're only going to be the one that's suffering. No one else. The guy in the gym toilet's not going to give a fucking 10 years when you can't have kids. You're the dickhead that didn't listen to him. Be smart. If you're going to take stuff, make sure you're ready for consequences as well. Make sure you're ready financially to go through shit, because you can't stop this stuff halfway and just, oh, I'm out of money, that's it. Nah, you're fucking going through with it, otherwise you're going to pay the consequences. Anyway, that's enough for this bit. I'm still driving to the gym, so yeah, I'm going to put down the camera now until I get to gym, and I'll answer some more at gym. Alright, back from the gym. I'm going to sip on some protein while I do the remainder of this QnA. Alright, so let me get these questions up. What is the best and the worst thing about the fitness industry? Now this one's actually from my homie Connor, who was a fellow HD athlete. This was a late one and I'd already screenshotted it, but I saw it pop up and I thought this is a good one because it gives people who aren't in this industry and aren't doing what we're doing an insight into what it's actually all about. So, the best and worst thing. Best thing would obviously be the people you meet. Like, I've connected with so many people through social media that are absolute like mad people, like absolute sickest personalities. They're like really nice blokes or females, and they're generally just good people, and they've all got similar interests, and they're all striving to do the same things in like life and in the fitness community, which is really good. Obviously another thing is working with some really sick companies who have great like morals and have great reasoning behind their product and the things they do. Like Mankind, one of the things that I loved about them when they reached out to me was like their packaging. It's biodegradable. Right now, whenever a company reaches out to me, the first thing I say is, you can send me your product, fair, but that doesn't mean I'm going to promote your product. You send your product at complete risk of your own, that I will get the product, look at it, not like it, put it to a side, give it to my friends, whatever. I will not be sending it back at any cost of my own or my own time. And if I don't like a product, well, that's it, you're lost. So that's the risk that companies take. Generally, if a company is like loves their product and believes in their product so much, they have no displeasure or discomfort in doing that. There have been some companies that just don't reply. And that's because they're not even confident in their own product. If you're confident in your own product, voila, send it my way. Right? So when I got the Mankind stuff, I told him, I was like, look, I'm not going to promote it unless I like it. And as soon as I got it, I seen what they're about. The clothing was sick, great material, great look, and then boom, biodegradable packaging. So this goes in your compost bin. Like, this isn't even plastic or anything. You could let it outside and it would degrade over time. Now that to me says something. Like, sustainability and like eco-friendly companies, boom, A+. And that shit like really digs into me. So that's like other things that I love about the fitness industry, like finding and connecting and networking with these companies. Some of the worst things about this industry. Some people are complete cunts. Like, their Instagram will say one thing, they'll act one way, they'll comment on your photos, they'll like them, voila, and you meet them or you talk to them on chat and you're just like, bro, you're a completely different person to them, what you act like on your socials. Like, some people are so full of themselves, you know, they think they're the fucking bees and E's. It's just like, get over yourself, mate. Like, you've got a following, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, some people are just, they're all talk and all show, but they're really nothing on a personal level when you get to know them. And there's quite a few of them out there. Like, some really just fucking shit people in general. But like I said, the best bit is equally just the people as well, because you meet some absolute legends out there. So yeah, likewise brands, like you meet some shit brands, like some companies, like they'll be like, oh, do this, sign up to this, say like commission based thing, yeah, and you'll make them money and they don't send you your money and you've got to chase them and chase them and chase them. Or other companies will be like, hey, promote our product, blah blah blah, and we'll give you like 50% free. And you're like, why the fuck would I still pay for your products? Like, if I want your product, like, I'll go get your product, like, I'll buy it. But like, you're messaging me, so I obviously haven't taken an interest in your product prior, and then you're gonna try and tell me to pay for the product and then you'll pay me back with commission or shit. Like, that stuff, like, that's things I tell people who message me all the time, like, oh, how do you start out? What business deals do you take? What don't? A, never take something you don't like. B, don't take something when you're out of pocket, especially if like you don't like it. Like, yeah, fair enough. They might show it to you. Like, that's sick. But if you're like still out of pocket and you're initially never going to get it anyway, you don't need the product. You know what I mean? Like, they're using you. They use little small influencers and people aspiring to be big influencers to give me their fucking products, and it's bullshit. Like, it's a gimmick. So yeah, off topic, but there are a couple of things I love and hate about the industry. I'm still growing, so I haven't had like a shit ton of experience. I've had my fair share. Like, I've been doing photo shoots and collabs with companies for like 2.5 years now, so I've had my fair share of funny moments and yeah, stories, but just out of respect for people and companies and contracts I've signed previously, I don't want to disclose all of it. So moving on to the next question. If you were looking to go into a deficit, how many calories less would you recommend? Alright, so let's go on the basis that you've been bulking. Alright, so if you've been bulking, you're gonna slowly lower your calories back down to maintenance. There's two ways to cut, right? There's one way that you cut quickly for like quick shreds, but you're gonna lose your muscle. Like, not all of it, but you'll lose more muscle than if you go progressively. Right? So the best way to cut, in my experience, is you make a thing out of it. So say summer's coming up, you start early, you get your maintenance and you cut like each week like 50 calories. Just nice and slow. One of two reasons. A, you're not cutting calories at such a quick rate that your muscle is gonna like deplete and feel underfed. Two, the same with that, but your body and your mental state. Like, you're not gonna be hungry, like, cause it's 50 calories. It might be like something like fucking half a Wheat Bix you cut each day, something like that, or a banana. You know what I mean? Like, just slowly cut them, like 50 to 100 calories, right? And then you're gonna continue that. Like, I would never drop more than 200 calories a week. Because you think about it, say your maintenance is 3,000, then you're 2.8, then a week later, you're 2.6. And then with a month, you're down to 2.2. Like, that's an 800 cut deficit. That's fucking heaps, and that's all in a month. Like, it's too much for your body to maintain all that muscle, and mentally, you'll feel shit. I personally prefer slow cuts. They're longer, and they mean that you don't get shredded so quickly, but it's a process that enables you to keep as much muscle mass as possible. So yeah, I'd cut between 50 to 100 weekly. And even then, like, you don't need to cut every single week, calories every single week. You don't need to do it. So pretty much, you want to cut the first week, and say you're like 79 kilos. If you drop to 70, like 8.7, keep it at that calories for another week, even though it's your first week you cut, and see what your weight does again. If it drops again, you can keep it. If it doesn't and it stabilizes, or it only drops like 0.1, lower it again. There's no need to rush the process. Take your time. If your weight is still dropping and still lowering itself, there's no need to cut calories. Simple. Additionally, if you don't want to cut as many calories, I'd recommend increasing your cardiac output, adding 20 minutes, 30 minutes to a walk or a run. By the time you get to a certain point anyway, I'd recommend you stop cutting calories and just do that anyway. Because there comes a point in time where you're just underfeeding your body massively. So, and it's not always the best way to do it. You can get shredded and not underfeed yourself so much. So yeah, that would be my way. 50 to 100 calories each week, as long as your weight isn't continually dropping, if that makes sense. So once it stabilizes, drop. Next question. What is your life goal from now until you reach 30 years old? Well, to be honest, I'd like to continue doing what I'm doing. I'd obviously want to become a bigger figure in this fitness society. I always wanted a Gymshark sponsorship, but the way they're going now, it's very, I wouldn't say no to one. Obviously, it'd still be a massive honor. I just feel like sometimes as you get older, you start to believe in more stuff, and there becomes a point in time where things mean to you more than just the name of a brand. Gymshark would be sick, obviously, but there's so many other companies out there that you'd be stupid to say no to, obviously. So my goal from now to 30 is to get a major sponsorship. I'd love to obtain a pro card, obviously. That's a goal of anyone who competes. We don't just compete for the sake of it. So that's a major goal, but obviously in my heart, majorly getting a pro card, getting a sponsorship, these are all massive things that I want, definitely before I'm 30. Live big, drink big. How high have your calories gone in a surplus? Right now, I'm eating about 4,700 calories. It's way better eating around 3,500, a couple hundred over maintenance. That's where I feel like I thrive as an individual, energy levels, physique wise and everything. But maybe as we go into this prep further, the calories will increase, who knows. That's all up to my coach.